Listen to me when I tell you this. I want you to feel it deep in your chest. Your only real competition is not that person you see on social media, not that guy in the gym lifting heavier than you, not that woman running laps around the track, not your coworkers, not your friends, not your family. No, your only real competition is you. The person staring back at you in the mirror, that's who you're fighting against every single day. Too many of us spend our time worrying about what someone else is doing, how far ahead they seem, what they've achieved, and we lose sight of the truth. That none of that even matters. Because no matter how much you watch them, compare yourself to them, or envy them, it won't make you better. What makes you better is fighting the version of yourself that wants to quit. The version of yourself that's comfortable. The version of yourself that's satisfied with average. Every morning when you wake up, that battle starts. The fight isn't out there in the world, it's in your own head. It's the voice that tells you to stay in bed a little longer, to put off the work until tomorrow, to give less than your best because nobody will notice. That's the enemy, that's the opponent. The competition is not other people. It's the weaker you that keeps trying to pull you back. The question is, are you going to let that version of you win? Or are you going to step into the arena and fight for the stronger, greater, disciplined version of you? Some of you can't see how much potential you have because you're too distracted looking left and right. You see somebody else's success and you start doubting yourself. You start thinking maybe you're behind, maybe you're not good enough. But the truth is, they're not running your race, they don't have your assignment, they don't have your life, your purpose, your path. You can't measure yourself by their chapter 20 when you're only on chapter 5. The only measuring stick you need is yesterday's version of you. Did you do more today than you did yesterday? Did you think better, move stronger, work harder? That's progress. That's growth, that's winning. The danger of comparing yourself to others is that you either get arrogant because you're ahead of somebody, or you get discouraged because you're behind. Both are traps because when you start thinking you're ahead, you stop pushing, you start coasting. And when you think you're behind, you stop believing and you quit before the finish line. But when you compete against yourself, there's no arrogance, there's no discouragement, there's only the grind of becoming better. Let me tell you, every version of you is waiting on the other side of your effort. The disciplined you, the focused you, the stronger you, the successful you, those versions are already in you. But they won't show up until you defeat the lazy you, the fearful you, the distracted you. That's why the fight is always personal. That's why it's always you against you. You can't fake this battle. You can't talk your way around it. You can't pretend you're winning when you're not. Because at the end of the day, you know the truth. You know whether you gave everything you had or whether you let yourself off the hook. And here's the hardest part nobody else may ever know. People may clap for you, people may think you're killing it, but deep down inside, you know if you're actually winning against yourself or just hiding behind appearances. So I'm asking you, when was the last time you truly gave yourself a fight? When was the last time you said, I'm not leaving this day until I beat the me from yesterday? That's the attitude you need. That's the hunger that takes you to the next level. Stop settling for small wins that make you look good to others and start chasing the big wins that make you proud of yourself. Because at the end of the day, it won't matter how many likes you got, how many people clapped for you, how many people doubted you. What will matter is whether you can stand in front of that mirror and say with confidence, I beat the old me. I didn't run from the fight, I became better. That's the only victory that counts. And once you commit to that battle, once you decide every single day that it's you against you, then there's nothing that can stop you. Listen to me. Discipline is the difference maker. Discipline is the line that separates the people who dream about it and the people who actually live it. You see, too many of you are living by your feelings, and feelings will lie to you every single day. Your feelings will tell you to stay in bed. Your feelings will tell you to take a break. Your feelings will tell you that you don't have enough energy, that you can skip today because tomorrow will be better. But discipline doesn't care about feelings. Discipline doesn't wait for motivation. Discipline is about doing what you said you were going to do, long after the excitement of the moment has faded away. Every morning when that alarm goes off, you have two choices. You can listen to your feelings, which will whisper to you, just a few more minutes, you deserve it. Or you can listen to your discipline, which says, get up, you made a commitment to yourself, and we don't break commitments. The reason so many people never reach the level they want in life isn't because they lack talent, it isn't because they lack opportunity, it's because they keep letting their feelings drive the car. When discipline should be behind the wheel, feelings are temporary. They come and go like the weather. Some days you'll wake up excited, motivated, ready to attack the world. But other days you'll wake up tired, unmotivated, and looking for excuses. If you build your life on feelings, you're going to be inconsistent, up one day and down the next. But when you build your life on discipline, you create consistency. Discipline is what keeps you steady in the storm. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward, even when your emotions are trying to pull you back. Think about it. Champions are not made because they always felt like doing the work. Champions are made because they did the work whether they felt like it or not. That's the difference. That's the secret. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the strongest leaders, they all mastered discipline. They all understood that their feelings were not to be trusted. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They acted because they were committed. And let me tell you something, discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, but the opposite is also true. The more you give in to your feelings, the weaker you become. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, and you don't do it, you train yourself to quit. You train yourself to choose comfort over growth. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes to give in next time. That's why some of you are stuck in the same place year after year. It's not because you can't, it's because you won't. You won't do the hard things when you don't feel like it. And that's why you keep losing to yourself. But when you start choosing discipline, everything changes. When you push through the excuses, when you show up even when you're tired, when you do it even when nobody's watching, you begin to rewire your mind. You begin to teach yourself that your word matters, that your commitment matters, that your dreams matter more than your feelings. And that builds momentum, that builds confidence, because deep down you know you can trust yourself. You can't live the life you want on the back of feelings. You need discipline, because the truth is the things that will change your life will not always feel good. Waking up early won't always feel good. Eating clean won't always feel good. Working out won't always feel good. Studying, practicing, grinding, it won't always feel good, but the results will feel incredible, and discipline is what gets you there. Some of you are waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until you feel right to take action. But let me give you the truth, that moment isn't coming. You'll never always feel ready. You'll never always feel motivated. If you keep waiting for your feelings to line up, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The people who win are the ones who don't wait. They act first. They trust discipline over feelings. And here's the thing, once you master discipline, you gain freedom. Sounds backward, doesn't it? But it's the truth. Discipline gives you the freedom to live how you want, because you're no longer a slave to your emotions. You're no longer controlled by laziness, excuses, or fear. You're in control, and that's the most powerful place you can be. So stop letting your feelings dictate your future. Stop letting your emotions decide your destiny. Feelings are fickle, but discipline will carry you. Discipline will build you. Discipline will transform you. Because in the end, it won't be your feelings that make you successful. It will be your discipline. Let me tell you something. The biggest limits you face in life aren't the ones the world puts on you. They're the ones you put on yourself. The restrictions in your mind, the ceilings you've created, the stories you've been telling yourself about what you can't do. That's what's keeping you stuck. It's not the competition, it's not the system, it's not the people around you, it's the invisible walls you've built in your own head. And the problem is, some of you have gotten so comfortable inside those walls, you don't even realize you're trapped. You've been living in your comfort zone so long that you've started calling it your home. But let me tell you, your comfort zone is not your home, it's your prison. And the only way to break free is to shatter those limits. Every day, you wake up with two versions of yourself. One version wants to stay safe, wants to stay the same, wants to keep you from getting uncomfortable. That version whispers in your ear, don't push too hard, don't take risks, don't fail, don't try something new. And then there's the other version of you, the one that's hungry, the one that knows there's more out there, the one that's begging you to step outside that cage and see what you're truly capable of. The battle between those two versions is the battle of your life. And until you choose to break your own limits, you will never know your true strength. Think about it. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, you shut the door on possibility. You say, I can't wake up early, I can't stick to the gym, I can't start the business, I can't go back to school. Do you realize how powerful those words are? You're not just describing reality, you're creating it. You're building the walls higher, brick by brick, every time you let that lie take root. But the truth is, you can. You've always been able to. The limit is not your ability, the limit is your belief. Some of you are carrying around old failures like heavy baggage. You tried once, it didn't work out, and now you've convinced yourself it never will. But listen, failure is not a wall, it's a door. It's not there to stop you, it's there to shape you, to prepare you for the next round. The problem is, instead of pushing through the door, you let it convince you to turn around and go back to safety. And that's why you're stuck repeating the same cycles, the same patterns, year after year. The enemy isn't outside, the enemy is inside. Breaking your limb, it means you've got to be willing to get uncomfortable. Growth doesn't happen where it's easy. Growth happens when you push yourself beyond the point where you want to quit. When your muscles burn, that's when they grow. When your mind screams at you to stop, that's when your discipline is built. Every time you push just a little further than you thought you could, you prove to yourself that those limits weren't real. They were just illusions. And once you break one limit, something incredible happens. You start to see that every other limit can be broken too. You realize the ceiling was never there. You realize the fears you've been living under were never real. And then you start chasing bigger goals, setting higher standards, because you know you're capable of more than you ever imagined. I'm telling you right now, you're stronger than you think. You're smarter than you think. You're more powerful than you think. But you'll never experience that power until you stop protecting your comfort zone. You've got to get used to being uncomfortable. You've got to be willing to step into places that scare you, take on challenges that stretch you, commit to goals that seem impossible. Because that's where the real version of you is waiting. The world will always have obstacles. Life will always test you. But the real test isn't whether the obstacle is too big. It's whether you're willing to grow big enough to face it. Stop asking for life to get easier and start demanding that you get stronger. Stop waiting for opportunities to fit inside your limits and start expanding your limits to meet the opportunities. Every great thing you've ever admired in someone else came from them breaking their own limits. Nobody became great by staying comfortable. Nobody became strong by playing small. They broke through the fear, the doubt, the pain, and they discovered what was on the other side. And that same potential is in you, but it won't show up until you decide to stop living safe and start living bold. So, from this day forward, I need you to stop running from your limits and start running through them. Because once you realize those limits were never real, you become unstoppable. Let me break it down for you. The battle is not won in one big moment. It's won in the little things you do every single day. Consistency is the key. It's not about how hard you go one time. It's about how many times you show up, how many times you give your best, how many times you choose to keep moving when it would have been easier to quit. Too many of you are waiting for a spark, waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect day. But the truth is, success doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do over and over and over again. See, the danger is that some of you confuse excitement with progress. You get fired up for a few days, maybe even a couple weeks, and you think you're on your way. But then life hits you, the excitement fades, and suddenly, the energy isn't there anymore. And that's when most people stop. That's when most people walk away. But the ones who win, the ones who change their lives, they keep showing up when the feeling is gone. They understand that consistency will take them places that motivation never could. Think about it. If you only work when you feel like it, how far will you ever get? You'll never finish the race, because your feelings will change 1,000 times before you reach the finish line. But when you make consistency your standard, when you decide that quitting is not an option, you build momentum that becomes unstoppable. Every day you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're building trust with yourself. You're proving to yourself that your word matters. That if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And that's one of the most powerful things you can ever give yourself, self-trust. Because once you trust yourself, once you know deep down that you'll show up no matter what, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Some of you keep starting and stopping, and every time you stop, you lose ground, you lose confidence, you lose belief in yourself. That's why you never feel like you're getting anywhere, because you're always resetting. But if you would just keep going, if you would just stay consistent, you'd be amazed at how far you'd get. You don't need to sprint. You don't need to do it all in one day. You just need to keep stacking day after day, choice after choice, and eventually those little steps turn into miles. Those small wins turn into big victories. Listen, consistency is not glamorous, it's not flashy, it doesn't always feel exciting, most of the time it's boring. It's doing the same thing again and again. It's waking up early, hitting the gym, putting in the work, sticking to the plan, even when nobody's clapping for you. But that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation happens. Not in the big moments when everyone's watching, but in the small moments when it's just you, the grind, and your commitment. And let me tell you, when you stay consistent long enough, something powerful happens. You change your identity. You stop being the person who says, "I'll try," and you become the person who says, "I will." You stop being the person who starts and quits, and you become the person who finishes. And once your identity shifts, your entire life shifts, because now you're no longer hoping you'll succeed. You know you'll succeed. You've built the habits, the discipline, the mindset that makes winning inevitable. Think about it like this. Drops of water don't look like much on their own. But when those drops keep falling in the same spot day after day, they can carve through stone. That's the power of consistency. You might not see the results right away, you might not feel the change overnight, but if you keep showing up, if you keep pressing forward, you will eventually break through. So stop looking for shortcuts, stop chasing the quick fix, stop thinking you can work hard for a week and expect to change your life. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be in it for the long haul. You've got to be willing to commit to the process, even when it feels slow, even when it feels repetitive, even when you can't see the results yet. Because if you keep planting the seeds, if you keep watering them, eventually the harvest will come. And when it does, you'll look back and realize that it wasn't the one big moment that changed everything. It was the consistency, the daily commitment, the relentless choice to keep showing up that made you who you are. That's why consistency is the difference between those who dream and those who do. Because the ones who stay consistent, they always win in the end. The toughest battles you will ever fight will never be the ones people can see. They won't be out there in the world against your boss, against your competitors, against your environment. No, the toughest battles are fought right here in your mind. If you don't master your mind, you'll never master your life. Because everything you do, every decision you make, every action you take, it all begins with the thoughts that run through your head. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will be weak. If your thoughts are defeated, your life will be defeated. But when your mind is strong, when you take control of what goes on up here, you can take control of everything out there. The reason so many people stay stuck is because they've let their mind become the enemy. They've allowed doubt, fear, and negativity to set up camp in their heads, and they wonder why they can't move forward. Understand this. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness, and the choice is yours. Every time you entertain those negative thoughts, every time you listen to that inner voice that says, "You can't, you're not good enough, you'll never make it," you give power to your enemy. But when you flip the script, when you feed your mind with strength, focus, and belief, suddenly, that same mind that used to hold you back becomes the force that drives you forward. It all starts with awareness. What are you allowing into your head? Because if you're constantly feeding your mind with doubt, comparison, excuses, and negativity, how can you expect to live a life of strength, focus, and growth? You can't plant weeds and expect a harvest. You can't fill your mind with trash and expect your life to be treasure. You've got to protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. If you wouldn't let somebody walk into your house and dump garbage all over your living room, then why are you letting toxic thoughts and toxic voices dump garbage all over your mind? Once you understand that, you realize that mastering your mind is about discipline. It's about catching yourself when that weak thought tries to slip in. It's about challenging the lies that fear keeps telling you. It's about refusing to let your mind wander into places that don't serve your future. And listen, it's not easy. Nobody wakes up one day with a perfectly disciplined mind. It's a process. It's a fight. Every day, you've got to wrestle with those voices and decide which one you're going to give power to. And here's the thing, when you master your thoughts, your actions naturally follow. You don't need to wait for motivation to kick in, because your mindset already has you locked in. You don't waste energy on doubt, because your mind is focused on solutions. You don't waste time comparing yourself to others, because your mind is locked on your own growth. That's the power of mastering your mind. It frees you from distractions. It frees you from fear. It frees you from being a prisoner to your own emotions. I'm not saying you'll never have negative thoughts again. We all do. The difference is, when you master your mind, those thoughts don't control you anymore. You can see them for what they are, just noise, and you can choose not to give them life. You can replace them with stronger thoughts, with words of power, with reminders of your commitment and your vision. That's what gives you the strength to keep pushing when life gets hard, because your mind has already been trained for the fight. Look around. People who succeed at the highest levels aren't always the most talented. They're the most mentally tough. They know how to stay calm under pressure, how to push through pain, how to stay focused when others are distracted. And that toughness doesn't come from luck. It comes from mastering their mind, from deciding every day to control their thoughts instead of letting their thoughts control them. You've got to understand, if you lose the battle in your mind, you'll lose the battle in your life. But if you win the battle in your mind, there's no obstacle you can't overcome. Because once your thoughts are aligned with your purpose, once your mind is locked in, your actions will follow with power, with focus, with consistency. So stop letting your mind talk you out of greatness. Stop letting fear run the show. Stop letting excuses set the limits. Train your mind to think strength, to think discipline, to think possibility. Because when you master your mind, you master your life. When you finally conquer yourself, when you win that battle against the weaker version of you, something powerful happens. You become unstoppable. Think about that for a second. Life will always throw challenges at you. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, losses, and moments that test you to your core. But when you've already proven to yourself that you can overcome you, when you've defeated the laziness, the excuses, the fear, the doubt inside of you, then nothing on the outside can break you. You don't fold under pressure because you've been through pressure every single day in your own mind, and you've come out stronger. You don't run from challenges because you've been challenging yourself every single day, and you know what you're capable of. Most people get stopped not because life is too hard, but because they're too easy on themselves. They give in too quickly. They let the smallest obstacle knock them down because they've never built the toughness within. But the moment you stop quitting on yourself, the moment you stop giving in to those voices that say it's too much, it's too hard, you can't do it, then the world has nothing left to throw at you. That's when you become dangerous. That's when you become unshakable. Look at the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. It's not that they never faced challenges. It's not that they never had setbacks. It's that they refuse to let those moments define them. They refuse to bow down to fear or doubt. And the reason they could do that is because they had already fought and won the hardest battle, the one inside themselves. Once you've mastered that, the rest of the battles feel smaller. Once you've proven to yourself that you won't quit on you, you stop fearing the fight. You see, reward isn't just in the success, the money, the recognition. The real reward is in knowing you've become the version of yourself that nothing can stop. That's the prize, to wake up every day knowing you've built a strength that circumstances can't break, to move through life with a confidence that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion, to stand tall knowing that storms will come, but storms don't scare you anymore because you've already weathered the storm within. And here's the truth. Life isn't going to get easier. It's not going to stop testing you. But when you conquer yourself, doesn't need to get easier because you've gotten stronger. The old you couldn't handle what's coming, but the new you, the disciplined you, the focused you, the relentless you, there's nothing that can stop that version. That's the reward. That's what makes you unstoppable. And the beauty of it is this. Once you reach that point, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone around you, because when people see that nothing can stop you, when they see the way you handle challenges, the way you keep showing up no matter what, it inspires them. It makes them believe that they can do it too. Your strength becomes a light that gives others permission to find theirs, but it all starts with you. It starts with that daily choice to not give in, to not let the old habit win, to not let the weaker version take control. Every time you push past that voice, you're chiseling away at the old you and building the unstoppable you. And over time, you'll look back and realize that the limits you thought were there never really existed. The fear you thought was real was just an illusion. The only thing that was ever standing in your way was you. And once you break that, once you conquer that, nothing, no person, no obstacle, no setback can touch you. Because the victory isn't just in what you achieve, it's in who you become. And when you become that version of yourself, the one that refuses to quit, refuses to break, refuses to settle, then you are truly unstoppable.